Guys, there's so much turmoil. You know, I've been thinking, life has been getting in the way. I know it's been a while since I did a video. Um, a lot of people I've talked to are getting in and out of crypto. I'm trying to boost my TikTok. I'm trying to create my Telegram, which, by the way, anybody watching this, I am creating a Telegram. I'll put a link below. Really not because I want to try and spread the word of, whatever I'm investing into, but obviously that will help. But also, what are you guys investing into, and what we can talk about it and see what we can do safely, manage, effectively, and minimal risk. So it's tough to come up with videos every once in a while, but let me just talk in general, off the cuff on this one. Thanks for tuning in. Alright guys, welcome back to the Crypto Wave. So, I've realized this over the last few weeks, including myself. Sometimes you get deviated from your plan. My plan has always been boost my worth on chain while trying to boost my portfolio off chain as well. Diversify, basically. With that being said, I've always tried to shoot to get as much Bitcoin as I can. Now, I was doing a pretty good job of this and accumulating quite a bit, but I got deviated. And how did I get deviated? I got deviated because you start seeing different projects and I don't want to call it FOMO, but you are kind of hoping, especially in a market like this when things are going down, you're hoping to catch that next swing up. And there's always going to be some project that's trying to scam you. There's always going to be some project that promises you a 10x, and there's always going to be a project that you can try and FOMO into. And you may say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to sell a little bit of what I'm holding, move it over into Ethereum or Binance. I'm going to sell a little bit of my Bitcoin. I'm going to put it into Binance so I can flip it. And then sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. Now, I haven't done that in quite a while, but I know a lot of people that I talk to in my real life that are doing that. And why? Well, kind of hard to say. Maybe they're bored. Maybe they're afraid. I have people with this most recent downturn, especially after FTX collapse. People are freaking out about what's going to happen. I think it's time to refocus attention. So my attention has always been in different projects, and I'm actually in quite a few. And I don't talk about all of them, but I should. And I keep saying I should, and I keep not doing it. But I'll start doing more videos about that, just kind of off the cusp. But in reality, I need to refocus my attention towards building my Bitcoin bag. And why is that? Bitcoin is one of those things that I've been in since back when it was about $6. Now, you would think my personal experience being back here when it was super cheap, I should be a millionaire right now. Well, here's the tricky part. You don't always know what the future holds. So I bought way back here, me and my brother, we were mining it and all kinds of stuff. And I had a ton of it. But ask anybody, when you see back in the day when it went up over here, so I had it and I was holding it, it was going up, and it got up to about 800 on this peak way back here. And back here, it was all theoretical. Man, it was just some made up internet money. Yes, it was fun. Yes, we were mining it. Yes, we were learning about it. But you pretty much 10, 15x what you put into this thing. You sold it. I sold it. I didn't give up on it. I kept watching it. And it came back down again, and I bought some more, and I bought it at about, I want to say it was about 300. I don't remember exactly where. And I was mining it and holding on to it and all that good stuff and mining at my house and stuff. And then it shot back up to like 1,200. And so what are you going to do? Again, you got to remember, this is back in 2017. This is still like, hey, we had a good run twice. You sold it. And the same thing goes, and on and on and on. And it wasn't until recently, I would say probably in the 2019, 2020, that I was really like, dude, this thing is here to stay. And it had this first peak, and I'll never forget it. Actually, the first peak was back when it hit 18. was that? Was it this one? Well, at any rate, there was a peak back in the day, and I remember somebody I worked with was, I was the crazy one that was in crypto, and they kept talking about it, and sorry about that. Had some crazy noises outside. So a buddy of mine, and I was working with him, and he was basically, I was the crazy one in crypto, and they were saying, "Hey, should I buy it? Should I buy it?" And back then, I was like, you know what? Yeah, you should. It's always a good time to buy it. And at this point back here, he had bought it, and it ended up tanking down significantly again. And he came at me, and he was so mad. And I said, you're gonna do well to just hold it, just like I'm trying to do. Try to accumulate as much as you can, because it's only gonna get harder to accumulate. And sure enough, what did it do? Is it shot way up here again. People bought it, tanked back down, everybody freaked out, peaked back up, and now here we are again on this long bull run. What's the moral of this whole story? If you have your goal set, especially in crypto marketing, whatever, stocks, if you have your goal, you got to be disciplined with that goal. And I've been guilty of this also. There are just those times that you think you can do a quick flip. So if you do enjoy those quick flips, excuse me, there's nothing wrong with that. But hold a very small percentage of your portfolio that you do not mess with to do those quick flips. Don't try to chase the next fly by night. Now, could you have the next Pepe? Could you have the next, whatever you want to call it, Wall Street coin? Can you have the next? I mean, what's the flavor of the week? Let's look at the 7-day. Who has the 7-day peak? Can you have the next ton coin? Can you have the next XDC network that's shooting up? You could, but the odds are it's tricky, especially in crypto, because nowadays they are more and more manipulated when a project just starts by people who are already in that project. You're kind of buying to sell it against the developers and people that are already in it. That's not to say all the time, but keep that in mind. With that being said, diversify appropriately. I'm actually in quite a few different things. You guys know that I'm always trying to build my USD bag, and that's the bag that I use on Binance in order to try to generate interest in things, but I am on other platforms and things, and we could talk about those as we go forward. But with that being said, find projects that you trust. Find people that even if something doesn't play out well the way you had hoped, they're honest. And this is going to come over here to the Mixer token. Now, we've been talking about this, and I've talked about it last few times. The Mixer token, Pulse 3D. So the Pulse 3D is still rocking and rolling. If you haven't got into it, definitely check it out. And the reason being is it hasn't spiked, it hasn't done anything. And I don't know if it will or if it won't. What I do know is the people behind it have been honest, and they've been consistent. And they originally were developing this Mixer token in order to feed into this Pulse 3D to generate dividends from people. No fault of their own. There were some hiccups in the contract with Solidity and such. Was just too tough. It was just too tough to do. So what does that mean for us? Well, to be honest with you, the Mixer token over here with the alien NFTs and things, maybe used in the future, but at the moment aren't going to be utilized. So what did these people do? They took funds out of their own, I guess out of their quote own pockets, and paid everybody back and made everybody whole again. Not only did they do that, but they also said, hey, we realized that it didn't work out the way we thought. We ain't done yet. We got new ideas. We got new plans coming. That is the type of project you want to get behind. Unfortunately, there is going to be, in crypto, as we all know, there's going to be that sweet spot that for some reason the hype loses or leaves this particular group and maybe just doesn't quite get its legs. But I would rather be in a project that maybe doesn't get its legs for one reason or another than projects that are going to be constantly trying to rug you and that type of thing. And that brings me to my next project that we've been keeping an eye on. So on the Pulse side of things, the Pulse drip, if you guys are in the regular drip, Pulse drip is very, very similar. They're building. It's going exactly as you would hope it would go. But at the same time, a lot of these things are built on other contracts, and those other contracts do have a finite. You do need more people coming in. I personally, oops, let's go back over here. I personally am in pull strip, not a whole lot, just a little bit. But that's a part of my portfolio that I'm willing to put in here in order to try and turn a little bit of a profit. It's been vetted. I have friends in it. They know some of the devs. The devs are vetted. They're still building. So I'm comfortable with a very small percentage being in here. Totally fine by me. And that leads me to what you guys know is in essence kind of one of my favorites that we always talk about. And that's going to be the animal farm. Now, why am I bringing this animal farm back up? Well, one, I've never left it. Two, it's been stable. Yes, the pigs are going down. Yes, the price of dogs are going down. But it has been years since this has started getting built. And yes, some things have come to fruition. Some things have not. The things that were important, it's tricky when you listen to the developer, the gentleman Forex who does this. When you listen to him, he's a gentleman that you want to listen to, and you know he's trying to do right by the people in the group. Crypto runs a mile a minute. He runs maybe a quarter mile a minute, which is very frustrating to some people to have their funds in a project like that. However, long-term picture, the farm is doing what it's supposed to do. The tokenomics are doing what they're supposed to do. When adjustments need to be made, such as into the dog pound over here, let's connect real quick, such as the dog pound over here, the adjustments were made to benefit the ecosystem. The games are paused, even though things are being developed, because it's not quite maximized and it hasn't quite been modified ideally in order to benefit as well as they think it can, especially with more ideas and projects coming online within their ecosystem. What's going on here? Man, my computer's dragging right now. But with that being said, and I know we've talked about it before, they did do the fiat on-ramp. The fiat on-ramp was a big deal. I'm sure people are utilizing it. Did it produce as much as we hoped? No, not quite, but you know what? It will over time. And that's I don't think people realize how much a fiat on-ramp is going to be beneficial to those people who are new to crypto. The farms are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. The Pigpen is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Unfortunately, the Pigpen rewards vault is diminishing. That will change if everything that they're doing does come to fruition. If you listen to the most recent YouTube that they were talking about the new farm. Excuse me, sorry, I'm yawning. Talking about the new farm and the fact that it's going to be V3 now. The V3 farm, the way they're setting it up is pretty revolutionary in the fact that you can now stake in the farm, and it is not only going to invest on the back end to generate yield, but it's actually going to do it on the version 3 of PancakeSwap, which increases the percentage of rewards provided. And then they're using, in essence, a trading bot, or not a bot technically, it's like an algorithm that will determine the tightest control, which will increase the tightest and most rewards frequently on your investment, and then it will be auto compounding into that investment for you, in essence building your bag while also generating pigs on the back. Cake on the back end. And if you're new to the channel and you're new to Forex, you're new to Animal Farm, a lot of this says, okay, well, how long is this going to take? And he always takes forever. But you need to realize, I've been in these projects with him for quite a while, and I don't know how to explain it, but he may take his time and it may take a long time, but what he does works. I think I've made this analogy before where, what's the difference between Apple and Samsung? Both high quality. Now, everybody's going to have their own opinion, and me and my brother always joke about this all the time, which is, Samsung, great phone, great product, strong, durable, same thing with Apple. But I don't think many people can argue that Apple just works. It just works, whether that be because it's not quite open source, such as the Android side of things and Samsung and those types of things. And that's not to say Samsung isn't going to work, but Apple just works. It's cohesive. It's safe. People trust it. You know, and that's kind of how I see these projects, whether it be Drip, whether it be Animal Farm, whether it be the piggy bank, whether it be the PigPin, whether it be the Fiat on-ramp, and now this version 3 that's coming out. There's no reason to think it is not going to come out. It may take a little longer than anticipated. It may take less than it's anticipated. But there's no reason to think that it's not going to come out. And if it truly does come out, and what he talked about on the last video, I should have had it pulled up on this. If it truly does what it's intended to do, which is trying to take over the liquidity pools of various assets on Pancake, then utilizing that to compound your spot and the spot overall, so that you are literally generating passive income into your principal while also generating dividends in the form of dogs and cake on the back end, which will ultimately feed into the PigPin. I mean, it is a no-brainer. And that goes back to my original point of this video, because I feel like I'm rambling, but it is just after midnight for me, and so I'm just in that state. I need to revamp where I'm pulling these interests from. And as I pull this interest, and as I roll it in the dog pound, and as I'm generating my BNB and my BUSD, and for my other projects that I'm in, and we'll talk about those on the next videos. I know I keep saying it, but I promise I will. The dividends I'm pulling from other projects, it is going to need to be distributed more appropriately and structurally into Bitcoin, into USD, into fiat assets if I want to do that. I don't care if it's precious metals, whatever the case is, I need to be structured with it to be more solid, to get as much Bitcoin as I can as well before the halvening. And I know BlackRock is talking about the ETF and all those kinds of things, which is going to be a big deal. All that's helping with is mainstream adoption and things. I don't know what it's going to do. I know everybody's predicting what it's going to do. I personally think it's going to go down a bit more because there's going to be a lot of people buying the rumor, selling the news. So you're going to see this is probably going to go up. ETF is going to launch. My guess is it's probably going to tank back down from all those people who bought the hype. It's going to come down, which is exactly what they're going to want to do, because BlackRock, in order to have an ETF, is going to need to buy up a shit ton of Bitcoin. They probably already have, but if they can get it even cheaper after everybody sells the news, they probably will. But more importantly is historical data and historical halvening and the finite nature of Bitcoin, as well as it just being the king. I just need to get, and you need to get, as much of it as you can. So I think I've rambled on long enough. Hopefully this makes sense. I know it's late. I didn't really have a structure for this video. I was just more kind of shooting off the cuff. So hopefully you stayed through to the end. I appreciate it if you did. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Drop comments down below if you have any questions. I will put a link into my new Telegram. I did on the last video too. If you want to join and have some conversation, I would love to have you over there. In the meantime, though, have a great night, and I will try to do another video in the next couple of days. All right, have a good one, guys.